broadcast and start streaming. Flash. Let's hit this guy. Okay. So far, so good. Let's start recording. Okay, so it's the recording. Let's stop recording. Okay, so FPS should be fine. Let's go to properties. Cancel that. Let's go to the scene. Let's cancel that. Delete that scene. Yes. Scene 1. Let's hit close. We're going to go to scene 2. Okay, that should be fine. Let's just see if it's working. Hopefully it is. Okay, that should be fine. Let's just see if it's wonderful. Okay, it's working. Now we're getting somewhere. Hopefully it is. Okay, let's go back here. So all I want to do now is make a new scene. Call this scene 3. Drop this below the cam circle. Or maybe I can duplicate scene 2. Call it scene 22. Go to scene 3. Delete that. Hit yes. Scene 1. Filters. Okay, I got source record there, so I can close that. Scene 2. Let us delete cam circle. Yes. Background image is fine. Screen capture is fine. I don't really need the microphone here, so I'm just going to delete that as well. And then for this one, I'm going to hit this side plus source record. Okay. Record mode, streaming or recording. Goes into the movies. Let's actually browse that. We'll put these in screen. Interesting. Okay, so there's more settings here. Let's close that. Frame rate is fine. I think I'm using core audio, so I'll stick with that. A higher bitrate here, about 4,000. Output sample rate. Yeah, that's all good. Okay, let's close that. Let's see. What's the suggestion? The stream bitrate is higher than the recommended bitrate. We recommend you use the stream bitrate of 2500. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to go to settings. Just have to pause the stream for a little bit. Output. Huh. Interesting. We're going to set that to 2500 kilobytes per second. Apply. Let's hit OK. We'll go back to scene 1. Check the filters. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure. Okay, that's 2500, so that's good. Let's close that. And then for this one, we'll check the bitrate here. Lower this also to 2500. And then close. 6600. We recommend that you use a bitrate of 2500. Let's go back to settings. Stream output 2500. Let's limit the bitrate. Maximum bitrate 2500. Apply that. And let's hit OK. Okay, stop streaming. Hit. Okay. So far, so good. Let's see here. I just want to make sure this works. Okay, let's go back to over here. Make sure this is also good. So over here. Make sure this is also good. Okay, let me see here. Make sure everything's okay. Just plug this in here real quickly. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me fine. Just gonna close my activity monitor. Okay, so seem to be looking okay, so that's good. Stream looks fine, I guess, so we should be okay to move forward. So welcome back. We're gonna do our Scratch project for CS50, so let's get right into that. I have to go take a quick break for 5 minutes, but here's where we were from last time, and I'm just gonna go ahead, make sure the connection is good. Okay, top chat is good, so let's get into it. So if you've seen my previous live streams, or if you want to check my channel real quick, we're building a very simple elevator game over here. The idea for the elevator game is you're going to be the bellman at this building right here. And so basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get these people to where they want to go. So this guy, if he wants to go down, you know, you're going to press the button for the elevator, make sure that the elevator goes where it's supposed to go. And then every time you press the button, the elevator will go to that person. If there's somebody here, it'll pick them up as well, right? Let me actually just zoom in so you guys can see it. So this is the elevator, right? The elevator right there. You got a typical tenant over here. You have a couple doors, you know, for buildings, etc., etc., etc. And as people move through, you're going to want to press the buttons for the elevator. So one of the things we want to do here is obviously I'm going to remove this button at the top because you can't really go further up. And I'm going to remove this button at the bottom so that you cannot, you can't really go down any further. So this is like the top floor up here, bottom floor down there. And we're just going to go right ahead. So some of the basic functionality we have so far, if you press the green, this guy walks out of his apartment and he gets over to the button. Now, what we want to do is we want to add intent. So we want to add a little speech bubble that indicates where that person's going. So whether they're going to the ground floor, the first floor, second floor, etc., etc., etc. This keeps happening. I'm not sure why my video starts to do this. Like, why does it? I don't get it. I really, really, really don't get it, you know? Let me go to my settings. I'm just going to go into my output over here. And let me just try to lower the bitrate. So I'll go down to 2000. Okay. And I'm just going to lower the bitrate on this side as well. Make that 2000. So put that there. Hit apply. Hit OK. Let's go to our source record because source record is probably recording. Let's limit the bitrate there too. Lower it down to 2000 kilobytes per second. 2000 kilobytes per second. Let's close that. And we'll go to this scene. Check this as well. Make sure we're limiting it here too. So that's going to be 2000 and 2000. Okay. Now we're going to close. Let's check our settings. Let's cancel. Okay. Again, I'm really, really not sure what's going on here. Cancel. Settings. I'm so sorry. This keeps happening, and I really, really have no idea what to do. Output 2000, 2000. Let's cancel that. So I know it's slow on this side. When I open Scratch, it starts to slow down a lot. Not really sure why, though. Sorry. Let me just make sure the settings here are all working well. Hope you guys will bear with me as I make sure that everything is fine. But it's not fine. Oh my god, man. Why does this keep happening? All right, let's just... Okay. Okay. So that should work. So I'm just going to go back to... I have to make sure that the stream actually works. I don't know why it keeps slowing down like this. I'm just going to go back to... I have to make sure that the stream actually works. I don't know why. Okay. Why it keeps slowing down like this. I'm just going to go back to... Okay. Let's get back into it. So, like I said, we're building the elevator game. Last thing that we were doing was working on our backdrop. So the idea is that as the elevators start to go up, we should have... Oh, sorry. We should have a clear way of making sure that the elevator is indicating where it's going, right? So like if this elevator was going up, you would see some kind of like yellow line, let's say just in the middle, so you can see it almost go up, and then that way it indicates that the elevator is, coming up or it's there or whatever. Sorry, I just got to make sure, excuse me, I just got to make sure the stream is okay. So last time we figured out that if you convert this to a bitmap, right, instead of a vector, then you can start to erase some of this background stuff. So if I do convert to bitmap and I use the eraser, I can actually go ahead and erase this here background, and you'll see why that's important in a second. So I'm just going to go all the way back. So let's go all the way to 20, and I'm going to scroll in, and I'm just going to erase, this sort of backdrop area. Let's lower it a little bit more so I'm not hurting these edges. So we'll go this way, right? And we'll just make sure all that is covered. So we don't want any gray whatsoever. The black is fine. We can always, work around with that. As long as we don't destroy any edges or any corners, then we should be okay. All right, so total, the background is here. And so now what we could do is use this filled square, right? Select the black color that we have here. Just make sure the stream is okay. Stream looks good. Lovely. So we're going to close the fill. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a rectangle to fill in this whole area. So I'm just going to start all the way at the top here. Draw it across. Okay. Going down. And I really, really just want to cover all this with black. Okay, so it looks good. Let's choose the mouse. Okay, so at any point now that I have this, I can start to draw in, and you can see the difference there. So anytime you look up at the corner, you can see what we're doing. So now that it's black, this is basically the background of the elevator, right? And all I'm gonna have is yellow going up, like a yellow color, so to speak, to indicate that the elevator is on its way, right? So here's what I can do. Let's try to Google elevator, right? Elevator. So we're just gonna make the inside. We're gonna make the inside of the elevator look legit. So every elevator has like this kind of guardrail, or I don't know what you would call that, right? It's like a handrail, somewhere that you could rest your hands on. So I'm going to try to capture this perspective of the middle square, and it kind of goes outwards. So one thing I can do is I can just save this image, right? I'll just save that to my downloads. And then what I'll do, because we only have to do this once, is I'll go on here. I'll choose File. Sorry. Choose a backdrop. I'm going to upload a backdrop. Sorry, cancel. I'm going to upload a sprite because it's supposed to be a sprite. And you'll see why in a second. Let's go to our downloads, shapes. No, I think I saved it to my desktop, right? Hopefully that's what's there. Nope. That is awesome from Awesome Show. Where did I save it? Okay, so there's our elevator. View, go, tools, window. Ay, ay, ay. Sorry. Okay, that's in my downloads. So I'm going to go to sprites again, upload. We're going to go ahead and upload our downloaded elevator. And I'm trying to be like as careful as possible not to show my actual downloads. All right, let's go back. All right, we'll go to costumes. So costumes is, this is where our sprite is. So I'm going to scroll in. Nope, sorry, out. And all I want to do is recreate this sort of like image. So that's going to be the background of the elevator. So I can just convert it to a vector, right? So now it's a vector image, and that means vector means that I can add all this, all this stuff that I want to add here. So we'll just do this really quickly, just to kind of get a sense of what we're gonna get. So like I said, I want it to be sort of yellowy, like brown, kind of almost looks like wood, right? So the color of wood, just a little bit brighter, a little more this side. Okay, that's a good enough brown for now. And we're just going to lower the outline because I don't want it to be too thick. And we're just going to go ahead and create our little outline right there. Okay. So just so I know what I'm doing, I'm going to what do you call it? I'm gonna move this. Sorry, I'm gonna use Alt. Oh, sorry. Option. If you use Option and then click, you can copy it. So I'm just going to copy it up here because I want to keep track of this color. That way I don't have to keep, reusing, trying to figure out which color I used. And then for this one, I'm going to turn the fill blank. And the reason I do this, and actually let's set the outline to something like red. The reason I do this is because I just want to put in the outlines just so I could see them, right? Visually. Hopefully you guys are still with me. Awesome. So I can outline this whole thing like this, and then I can set all my lines, and then afterwards go in and change the fill, which, I can, like I said, I can just copy the color from there. So let's make some of these lines, yeah? So I'll choose this line. And from this corner, I want to go out that way. Sorry, let me just redo that. Because it's more of a kind of a 3D thing, the first thing I want to do is I want to choose my square. So I'll select the outline of that. Increase the thickness so that it's more thick. Okay. And then I'm going to choose my line. And because I don't want the line to have one thickness, right? If I had one thickness for the line, then it's not going to look, you're not going to get the perspective right. So instead, I want to, let me just zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. I want to create it. See, it kind of branches out more the closer it gets to you. So we want to create that 3D sort of look. So we're just going to go from there all the way to there. And then we can select our line, change the outline to red so you guys can see it. Okay. And the cool thing about Scratch is that not only can you modify these, right? But if you select this line thing, and if you can literally connect these into shapes. So I'm going to go from there to there, and then from there all the way down to there, and then from there to there. And there you go. Now you have a shape, right? You could literally select the shape. You could fill it with any color you want, right? And it'll get filled. For now, I'm just going to leave it. Actually, let's just make it black. Might as well, right? That way you can see it. There we go. So now if I was to select this background image, and I just kind of move it a little bit, you can see we already have that thing right there. And then we can just remove the outline later. So I'm just going to Control Z, go back in. I'm going to select this, remove the outline. And there we go. No more red outline. So now it's just black. And that's exactly what we want. So let's get in quickly. Let's just blast through this really, really fast. Let's choose red. Okay. Close that. Zoom in. 1, 2, 3. All right. So I'm going to drag this way up to here. And drag from there to there. If you want to make straight lines, you can just hold down Shift and it'll automatically give you a nice right angle. Connect that to that, and then just these two. There we go. Select. Okay, fill it with black. And make the outline transparent. Done. Okay, so that's one side. Now for the other side, first of all, I want to make this taller so it touches the bottom. Like all the way there. And then we'll just add on these lines. So we'll choose our line tool. And for this one, because it's a thin line, we can just go right from here all the way down here with black, right? So we'll go there to there. And then we want to go across. So I'm holding Shift till I get to this corner. From here, I can make this line happen. And there we go. Now we have the floor. We can add just this guardrail. I can ignore this one. I don't really need it. And why don't we add some of these lines at the top here, just so it looks more kind of realistic, right? So I need, for this side, this line going across. So I'm going to add one line here, hold it, drag it across to there. Actually, let's make it red so I can see it. Okay. I'm going to drag this line from here all the way to there. Again, holding shift. And then I'm just going to drag it down a smidge. Sorry, gotta zoom in a little bit. So let's choose this line, move it up. Right about there is fine. And then we're going to select from this side, I'm going to go down a little bit. So I want to make almost like a rectangle right there. Let's go back. Okay. I'm going to go from here. Use shift again, drag it out until it's kind of almost level. Right there is good. Zoom in some more. Go all the way in, select there to there. Done. Select that shape. Outline is none. Fill is black. There we go. Hopefully you're with me so far. So if I just, at the end, if I turn this red thing into black, and I'm only choosing red just so I can see it, but if I turn it into black, it's going to match our elevator. I just realized you guys can't see my screen, so that's my fault. Apologies about that. There we go. Okay, so now hopefully you could see it. Okay, awesome. Now you can see it. Beautiful. Okay, so this is what's happening. So again, for obviously because it was missed, this is Scratch. We're using it to create an elevator. And we're building an elevator game. Fun, right? Okay, so really quickly, I just want to make sure I have all of these different items right here. So one thing I want to do here, I'm going to create a handrail that goes all the way around this entire thing right here. Okay. So if I zoom out, you can see what I'm doing. I'm creating the inside of my elevator. So if I take this image, remove it, that's sort of the outline of what it's going to look like, right? We're just kind of putting it together right now. So let's do Command Z. All right. And we're going to zoom in and let's just continue drawing. So we got these lines. We got these lines up top here. Now we want to add this side. So I'm just going to add this guardrail right here. I'm going to choose a line, make the outline red so I can see it. And let's go ahead. Sorry. My stream keeps popping off for some reason. Okay, so we're going to go from this side. I'm going to hold this and just draw it all the way till right about there. Right about there looks good. Okay, so then I'm going to hold from here. I'm going to go across here so that I can draw this guardrail. And then from there, I'm going to go through this side, draw the guardrail this way. Okay, bring this one down till right about there. Grab this thing, draw it back, but this time going over the shadow as opposed to where the actual thing is. So right about there. And I can grab this, Go across. Make sure it lines up beautifully. Beautiful. Now we're going to grab it from there. Go all the way down here. And then finally, we're going to close it off. And there's our guardrail. Okay. All I want to do now is color this in. So I'm going to choose a black outline. And sorry, I have to select it. Make the outline black, right? And then choose a fill color. And I'm just going to choose just kind of a neutral gray. So drag the saturation all the way here. Go this side. Increase the outline size. So I got to click off that. Make it 4 or something. And there we go. 4 is a little bit too thick. So I'm going to go down to number 2. 2 is looking a little bit better. So that's good. And if I change this to black, right? Choose that. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to make a square that goes over this entire thing, right? So this is going to be our background. Drag this down. And if I then fill this with this color right here, okay, remove the outline. Sorry, I have to select, and then we can remove the outline. Click it again, send it all the way to the back, and then just select this image and send that one to the back. That is what the inside of our elevator is going to look like as it starts to go up. So again, it's not perfect. You know, if I had more time, I could probably make this better. But right now, we're just, because we haven't even gotten into the functionality yet, right? So we want to make sure we just kind of have a general idea of the elevator. So at least you could see this coming up. Okay, so there's your, there's your guardrails. For the outline, maybe I'll choose a color that looks like this version of gray, but I'll just make it a little bit darker so it's kind of obvious. Okay, so there we go. We could add some more lines, just to kind of make it look more 3D. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't really take that much time. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to add these lines right here, right? So let me zoom in. And sorry, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. And we're just going to add all these lines. So get the line tool, make sure the outline is thin. And we're just going to go, if I press shift, I can make a perfect line that goes downwards, but I'm not going to do that because as you can see, it's not exactly a perfect line, right? So we'll go down this way, make this one go down that way, and then select this one. And because they're getting thinner and thinner, one thing I can do is I can select this line, right? Give it a thickness of 2. Select this line, give it a thickness of 1. And because this one's already a 1, I can just go over here and reduce the saturation to 0 and increase the brightness slightly, which kind of gives it a little bit of an opaque thing. So if I then select this, send that to the back, you can see it almost looks like the lines are getting, smaller, right? And if I don't like it, then I could just decrease the brightness just a little bit more, or sorry, increase the brightness. And look, it almost looks like it's thinning out. So it gives it more of a, when you're just kind of looking at this from far away, it gives it more of a 3D feel, right? So so far this looks okay. Maybe just a couple more touches. Let's just delete this, keep things cleaner. I'm going to send this to the back again. Let's really quickly add these lines right here. So we're going to select the same color for this one. I can select it, press Alt, drag it across, and there we go. I have an extra line to work with. So drag this one over here, right? And I'm not going to resize anything yet just because I don't need to, right? There's absolutely no need for me to do this right now. All I'm trying to do at first is just line these up so that they look good. So we can again select this line, Alt, press, copy. This line goes over here. I can zoom in just to make sure that kind of lines up. It does, looks good. And then as you remember, we used number 1 for this one. So we'll select that, draw a line, goes all the way down to right about there. Okay. And then we'll increase the thing to number 2. Start from here, go all the way down to here. There's our second line. Okay. So now, I want to do these ones real quick. So I'm just going to select again, choose that, select the outline, make sure it's the same color as these guys, right? Kind of a dark, sort of grayish. Maybe I'll make that just a little bit darker and remove the saturation altogether. A little bit more, right about there. Beautiful. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make these lines. So let's go from up here, make a line going down this way. And similarly, we'll go from up here, make a line going that way. Perfect. How's the stream going? Okay, great condition. And then now we'll just reduce the brightness increase the brightness, not reduce it. I'm thinking opacity, right? But there's no opacity here, at least none that I've seen. So we're just going to go across this way. And it's snapping there because there's another shape there. I don't want that. So I'm just going to zoom in. And again, if you don't like when it's snapping, sorry, I'm just going to have to delete this line, start over. So I wanted to use the line tool, draw a line, going across this way. So from there, drag it out that way. Use my tool right there. Zoom all the way in. I can choose the middle handler and then just kind of drag it. It's a little bit manual, but nothing to worry about, my friends. Okay, so that goes all the way there. And again, we just reduce the saturation all the way. Let's go to like 37 for that. And then if I zoom out, right, I can copy this line, hit Alt, and then drag it down. So I get another copy, put it over there, and then reduce that even further. So let's make it like 51, okay? Now again, I can't really see how it's going to look until I do this. And now we got a better idea of kind of what it looks like, right? So now, now what we can do is we can start lining some of this stuff up. So let's just go ahead, make sure that all these lines, touch where they're supposed to touch. So if we zoom in, this one is basically supposed to go up to there. That one, zoom in further. I'm trying to get the middle handle that allows me to increase the length. Because if you drag it from these two ones on the sides, what ends up happening is it increases the thickness as well, and we don't want that. So until right there, there we go. We'll go all the way back. We want to do this one next. So let's go in. Let's select that. I think, beautiful. So I didn't even know this. This tool right here can allow you to reshape things, which is perfect for what we're trying to do, right? So we'll just move this one that way, this one. Um, if you don't want to change the angle, again, like I said, you just hold shift, right? And that brings it. And I know it's kind of crisscrossy a little bit, but you don't have to worry about that. I'll show you why in a second. So I'll drag this one, hold shift, bring it all the way down here. Same thing with this guy. Grab it, hold shift, bring down. Okay. From the bottom, hold shift, bring it all the way up. Same thing with this one. Hold shift, bring it up. Okay, this guy, hold shift. And you see how how so much faster everything is moving now that we have the right tool for the right job. This is why it's important to know this stuff and actually know how to use your tools. Okay, so now what we can do is we can select this one and move it all the way to the front, right? Select this one, move it all the way to the front. Select this outline, move that all the way to the front. Select this black top, move that to the front. And then finally, we'll select the handrail because that's supposed to be above everything and move that to the front. And voila, we now have an elevator. Simple, right? Now you can start editing some of the colors. So I can, increase the brightness for this one. Increase the brightness for this one as well. Let's make it same color. So 40, right? 40 right there. 39, whatever. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much, these ones are looking a little bit harsh. So I might just want to click on this, reduce the saturation, make it 0, and then increase the brightness to like 11, right? So it's just a little less harsh, right? Let's make that 11 as well. 12 is fine. Reduce the saturation. And then for this guy right here, we'll just go a little bit higher, maybe like a number 20. Same thing with this guy. Go to 20 right there. And then up here, we'll just select this one and we'll make that a 20 as well, just so that it kind of matches everything, right? So you can see like all the lines, they sort of add up together. Everything looks nice, very visually appealing, so on and so forth. We could reduce that to like a 40, so just looks better. That's the inside of the elevator. That's what's going to go up and down, along with the rest of our stuff there. So if I now have this thing, I can like move it around, and if I go to my backdrop, so this is my backdrop right here. Okay, I want to make sure that this elevator right here, I want to reduce the size. So I don't want it taking up the whole, the whole thing. It's a bit much. So let's go over here. I'm trying to remember how I reduce the size again. Okay, let's convert it to a bitmap first. So now it's basically an image, right? We can't really edit it or whatever. So now what I want to do, this is so weird. I thought there was a way to edit this. Let's go to backdrops. Backdrops. Let's click this one. Okay, so that's this guy, right? We already have him wherever. So he's going to start out somewhere. And you can see the code for him as well. Wondering though, like, how did we? Oh, it's right here. It's the size. My bad. God, I'm so dumb. Okay, so we have our elevator. So I'm just gonna show him, and what I want to do is I want to reduce the size. So let's reduce the size down to like a 20. The thing that's not good about this is I'm gonna have to undo a couple of things. Oh boy. All right, we can fix that later. Not a problem. Let's make the size 18, right? So this is the elevator right there. So you can imagine, right? Let's say the elevator starts there, for example. You can imagine this elevator. Let's make that a 19. So this elevator is going to go, it's basically going to start here and it's going to go all the way up, right? To the top there. So up and down, etc., etc. So I'm just going to leave the elevator here for a second. So I kind of know where it is. And one thing I want to know is if it's possible through the code to have it behind the backdrop. So let's just Google that really quickly. So let me see. Is it possible? Is it possible to move sprite behind backdrop? Yes, you can move a sprite behind a backdrop, but it depends on the game or behind background scratch. Which sends the sprite to the back of the drawing order. Alternatively, you can make the background a separate sprite and use code to place it behind other sprites. Okay, cool. So, let's select this guy. So I have his location there, right? Let's keep him alive. Go to costumes. And one thing I want to do is I want to move this guy behind sprites. So there's your backdrop, so that's stage 1. Interesting. Go back under the looks category. Where's the looks category? That's your backdrop. Looks. Oh, okay, cool. So we'll select this, and interesting. So I can move this here, right? and let's say go to back layer, right? So let's have that, and then control, not control, sorry, events. Yeah, so when I click start, it's going to go to the back layer. Let's see if that works. No, no, no. See, it doesn't go behind. That's the problem. Looks, switch costume, next backdrop, switch backdrop to backdrop 2, switch costume to number 2 elevator. No. Clear graphic effects. Go to front layer. Go to back layer. Costume number, backdrop number. No. Method 1. You could use go back. Method 2. Create a separate sprite for the background. Create a new sprite for your background. Draw or import your background image as the first costume for this new sprite. If you have other background elements that you want to appear as part of the background, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Interesting. So maybe what we could do is if we go to our elevator here, let's go to our costumes. And I imagine we can erase like from the sides. So if I just erase these two sides right here, so I'll take my eraser, I'll increase up to 25 or more. Let's go up to, let's say 40, and I'll just erase from this side all the way down here. So I'll just get rid of all that, right? And that's the beauty of being able to convert to a bitmap, is that you could just do this kind of editing really quickly. Now, ideally, I should be able to just crop it, but for now, we're just going to erase because it's simpler. Okay, that looks good. And then I could just do the same thing from this edge. So let's just erase all that, go all the way down. Do 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 do. Okay. Now, it would be nice if someone thought of this, but like an erase feature where you can hold down the shift key as well, and it just keeps it all in like a straight line. That would be pretty cool. Definitely a feature worth having. But you know what? This is good enough. Besides, it's only Scratch. So now it actually fits. Now it actually fits the backdrop there. So that's good. It's really key, you know. So all I would have to do now is just put another costume over it that would or actually just another sprite, and then this would always show up behind that sprite. Okay, and then we're just going to duplicate. We're going to have different costumes or different sprites for like, how do I say this? So I'm going to have one sprite and it's going to have two costumes. One of them is where the doors are open, and then the second one is where the doors are closed. But I also want some sort of animation, right? And so one of the animations that I want to find out, it's not really motion. So you have a couple different ones here. You have something like motion and you got looks. It's not motion, right? Because what we want is we want it to kind of disappear. So what I want to do instead is change size by 10, set size to 100, set color effect. That's an interesting one. What is color effect? So you got fisheye, you got whirl. Oh, interesting. So it's kind of like a filter. All right, I'm gonna delete that. change color effect, set color effect, go forward one layer, costume number, size. It's probably going to be size. So this shows you what size it's already at. But that to me seems like it just goes boop. I don't want that. I actually want it to move. If on edge, change X by glide. So it's probably going to be glide. But again, it has to, like I said, it has to appear. It still has to appear behind the backdrop there. Method 2. Use a separate sprite for the background. Create a new sprite for your background. Draw or import your background image as the first costume for this new sprite. If you have other background elements that you want to appear as part of the background, create separate costumes for them in the same sprite. No, that's not what we want, man. Scratch uses layers. Cereal fall into a bowl. The bowl is part of a backdrop and the cereal is a separate sprite. Make the bowl into a sprite instead. You cannot go behind the background. That's not good. That's not good at all. So it does look like we have to recreate this, right? Um you know what? That's okay. That's not a problem. Not a problem. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually just going to erase. I'm going to erase from here to there, right? So just covering like this area to that area and then going all the way up here. I'm just going to erase all of that. And then that way, once it's all gone, I can just make a whole new sprite like on top of that, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go to my backdrops, okay? Go to my backdrops over here. And what I'm going to do is, let's see. I want from right there, zoom in a little bit. I want from right there, let's fill it with black. So that kind of just tells us like where we're going. I'm going to go from here all the way to there. Okay, so it's good. It's not touching my buttons there, so that's good. So now I can just drag up top. And then what I'm going to do here, right, is I'll just call this, when I create the sprite on top of it, I'll just call it it's the elevator shaft is basically what it is. So I want to get an idea of how big this is. Let's convert it to vector. Right. Oh, it's already on top of it. Whatever, man. Who cares? So let's make a new sprite. So we're gonna paint the sprite. Okay. We're gonna call this sprite elevator shaft. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead, fill this thing in. So I'm gonna move it so that it matches right at the top there. You know what? Let's do this properly. So I'm gonna go with an outline and I'm gonna make the fill transparent so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. So now if I go ahead and drag this thing around. Okay, I'm gonna drag it from this side. Let's make it bigger. Okay, it looks like it covers it. That's good. Let's go up, right, up, right. Okay, we're gonna reduce this Okay. Let's see. We're a little bit too far out of bounds there. So I'm just going to zoom in. Make sure I try to get it so it covers the whole thing. It is what it is. Sometimes in life you mess up, but you didn't really mess up. You know what I mean? Like I said, this is my first time using this program. Um, so it doesn't count as a mess up. What it does count as is I wouldn't even call it like a learning experience. It's just it is what it is. That's all. That's all. That is all. It is what it is. Sounds like an oxymoron. Maybe it is an oxymoron, but or I don't know if that even makes any sense, but it is what it is, man. Sometimes you make little mistakes like this, or as my teacher used to call them, happy accidents, right? Oh my god. Okay, now we can do it. We can do what we're supposed to do. So I'm just gonna select the color. Come on. Oh, I can't. Oh, that's so interesting. Um. Hmm. Okay. Not a problem. We're gonna have to solve this a different way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my backdrops. I'm going to select fill, use the color picker on this side because apparently it doesn't work over there. So I got 100, it's 51, 18, 100. So let's go back to the elevator shaft right there. 51, 18, 100. Let's turn the outline transparent. Okay. Voila. Perfect. Perfect blend, I think. um, it looks slightly different on this side. Let me make sure I got it right. Oh, it's probably because it's a bitmap. When it goes into bitmap, it probably changes the color. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Select the color. Let's go on this side. Yeah. So 51, 18, 100. That's probably because it's a bitmap. Hopefully it is. We can always change it later, right? 51, 18, 100. So what I can do here is I can actually I'll move the direction a little bit to the left so I can see what's already there, and then that way I can start to kind of like maneuver around. So if I go ahead and um I'm gonna go up here and let's start filling all this stuff in. So I want to do one line, right? Increase the thickness of the line. Let's make it 1, 2. Drag it over here. A little bit down, a little bit up. This is obviously not optimal, but again, like I said, patchwork. Drag using shift all the way to that side. Drag using shift. Okay, we're in a good place. So now we're just going to duplicate these again. Let's drag, oh, sorry. Let's hold this. You can also use the tool to make shapes. Curves, I mean, you know. I think it's called a Bezier. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's like Bezier or Bezier or Bezier. Why does everything have French nowadays? It's like French is everywhere. You know, you go to a cafe or a cabaret or a restaurant. That's not my joke, by the way. That's from the great almighty Gallagher. Some of you kids might be a little too young to know who that is. Gallagher was a legend back in his day. And if you are of the correct age, you probably remember him or heard about him from Chappelle Show, where Dave Chappelle did his version of Black Gallagher, which is absolutely hilarious. Okay, so let's go here, here. So this isn't the smartest way to do this. I completely understand, but who cares? Who cares, brother? Who cares? Tonight, we will just smash. Okay. I'll drag that one there. I'll drag this guy down a little bit more. Okay. They're lining up. Looks good. Last line of defense. Okay, perfect. So now, let's go back to our backdrop really quickly. I want to grab this color right here. So I'll go to fill, grab the color. Again, there are better ways of doing this, but I don't have enough time to find them. 28, 61, 85. If I just selected it, it already is the color. Good to know. All right, let's turn this off. I'm going to select that, drag it over here, send it backwards, send it backwards again, send it backwards a couple more times. All right, and I'm just going to line it up so it doesn't overlap with the lines. Okay, so that's good. Okay, and let's drag this outwards some more. So that looks good. And if I want to make it look even better, just drag this line up a smidge. Perfect. There we go. So Alt, hold, pull up. Puts this perfectly where we want it. And then we can just send it backwards, backwards. Looks good. Let's keep it moving. Alt option. Let's drag over here. Backwards, backwards. Drag it down a little bit. And there we go. Okay, so we kind of fixed the original problem. So there's no more need to whatever. And now what we can do is we now have an elevator shaft. So this is a separate sprite. It's our elevator shaft. We can add the elevator doors, make them open, close, do pretty much whatever we want at this point, because when you have sprites, you can control what goes behind what. But the thing here is with the backdrops always stay the same. So you could change, I guess it makes sense, you know, because of game development. You can change the backdrops based on the scenery, but if you want things going behind each other or interacting with each other, like elevator doors, for example, then you have to make them as sprites in Scratch. So with that being said, I think this is a good place to stop. And we're probably going to go ahead and call it a night. So I'm going to keep working on this. You'll probably, by the time you come on the next stream, you'll see the completed doors and everything. And hopefully by that point in time, we can start getting into the functionality, which is actually the fun part of what we're trying to do here. And that's pretty much it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're tuning in, and you have yourself a nice day.